We're going to be diving into goals here just in a second. And every week, I'm going to be bringing a new topic. This week, we're focused on goals. And you're probably like, I'm a pro. I don't need this. But there's always another level. And we're going to dive into it today. Something that I love about the system that we're teaching and we're training on over the next 11 weeks. We already are diving in. Last week was clarity. And the first kind of foundational week, we were looking at this creator framework. And the creator framework is going to help you basically apply this framework to anything that you're taking on, anything that you're doing. And we're just going to keep building the momentum every single week. So this week, we are focused on goals. I'm going to jump into Figma. We'll probably jump into Codex, and we'll jump into maybe Claude. And we're just going to kind of work through our goals and get them ready for this summer so that it can be the best summer of our life. Let's get it. For tuning in today, if we haven't met yet, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me today. My name is Bridewell. Previously, I was head of product and design at Growth Day. Previous to that, I was over at Facebook, Envision, Lynda.com, LinkedIn. Just had the incredible opportunities to work with some of the best. And today, I'm going to share just some foundational knowledge that I think will help you get moving this summer. Every Thursday, we'll be recording the sessions. We'll get them back up in the app so that you can see it. We'll show the app today too, give you an idea of how to use it, and then get after it. So the first thing that we're going to do, if you want to introduce yourself in the chat, let me know where you're tuning in from. That's always super helpful. And what's top of mind right now, hopefully you brought with you a goal, something that you care about, something that you want to focus on, something you want to build, and you have it documented and defined. We're going to dive right into it just in a second. So start thinking about what that might be. If you've got a piece of paper, something to write with, that's going to be helpful too, because when I'm in Figma here, I'm going to be building out this goals architecture. And I'm going to jump into Figma here. And Figma is still one of my top favorite tools for data and visual mapping. I am using a lot of other tools for doing audits, but I still love Figma, and I love that Codex recently updated its integration with Figma, so it's even better and faster and smoother. So if you haven't yet used Codex, give it a try. It's similar to Claude Code. It's just a little bit more rigorous for building out things. So the big six. The big six was what we were working on first when we first were getting and building clarity. So you were like, I suck right now at building clarity, or I just don't feel very intentional with the work that I'm doing. You can do this exercise where you tap into purpose, your priorities, your opportunities, and then how you want to show up with your identity, how you want to interact with others, and then what success looks like. So last week we mapped these things out, and then what we did was we looked at how we're going to actually apply these things on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, thinking about how we do backwards planning, and then also the system schedules, rituals, and routines that we'll build around these things. So very important foundational stuff that you should do. And if you have kids, if you're on a team, you should know what these things are for all of your teammates. If you're on a team, you should know what these patterns, rituals, routines, schedules are for your team so that you can better support them. And I'm just giving you the heads up now. If you don't do this, you should be doing it, and you should be coming prepared every single week to know how you can improve on the previous week. All right, so if we move into the goals, which is what today is all about, goals are essential. The first one we're going to focus on is career. And we're going to do 4 of these to kind of rapid fire. And here I'll take this and come in a little bit closer. So think about your career. What's something right now you've been working towards, or you've at least thought about working towards in your career? Maybe you're in a transition period. Most people usually go through these transition periods every couple years or even every 6 months. You could feel like you need something different. You need something more. Either you plateaued in your current role, or you're just basically, you've worked yourself out of a job because you've created something that your company and your team can use, and now they don't need you anymore, which is not a problem. But what you can do is you can start documenting what those might be for your career. My career, right out the gate, I am strictly focused right now on industry learning. And I would say as a career, I'm looking at different industries that I'm building in, and that ends up coming up to sports. And please follow along by writing things out for you, what industries you're focused on right now. I would say sports, I would say wellness, I would say fitness, and I would say performance. Right now, I'm also learning that frequencies and other things, which I'm really passionate about. So those are my career. Hope you have yours already listed right now. So now that you have those listed, let's go to the second tier. So we have our career and where we're focused right now. Now I'm going to actually help you align it with your passion projects or passion goals. So what are some things that you're doing outside of your career that are your passions that maybe you aren't getting paid for, but something very important? These are some passions that I want to connect with, building on the lands and also teams, building better teams and sports teams. I'm actually really passionate about. So we're getting these things documented. So again, I want to encourage you to be writing out your things. So if you were writing, let's make sure that this is why we're doing 4 categories. So we're not putting ourselves in one bucket. We are incredible beings, right? I want to stretch you a little bit. So that's why we have 4 areas that we're going to be focused on today. So now that I have my passion, my hiking, my fishing, my land, teams, things that I'm doing, now let's move over into the third category, which is project goals. So project goals are things that you are absolutely focused and working on right now. And I have quite a bit of those. If you have 3 projects and 3 businesses that you're working on, that might be your ABC. If you have additional projects that you're working around your house or different things that you just are priorities, then let's make sure we write those things out. A couple of my projects that I'm working on right now is bought a sauna, and we're going to be putting that in and learning about how to get the right amount of power to it. And then also we have another project where one of my RVs leaked a little bit from the top with a big rainstorm that came in, so we have to go and get it, like all the moisture and the water that came into the RV taken out of the RV so it doesn't mold and stuff. So we're figuring that out. That's another project. So right, you got projects that are coming every day, every week, every month. It's really important to be able to compartmentalize and organize those so you don't get overwhelmed on things, because they're always going to be there and they're always going to come. All right, the last section here is personal. So what are some personal goals that you're working on? And I would love to encourage you to also write these out. So I always am going to have a fitness and wellness bucket in here. For personal, I need to feel alive with some fitness and some wellness. And then I'd say maybe for personal, it would also be just getting out in nature more. And that's probably also one of my passions, right? So I need to live into that. So I have these buckets, very critical, but what do you do with them? And how do you make sure that you can align these categories, these very important elements, into your days, into your weeks, into your months? But the first problem that most people are facing is they never even taken the step to actually write these things out. They're flailing. They know what they are, but they just haven't taken the time to write it down. And then they haven't taken the time to write down or map their actual ecosystem. So when you're looking at these things, your days, your weeks, and your months, now it's time to start fitting into your schedule these magical moments, these magical things. And it's such an obvious thing to do, but so many people know that it's an obvious thing to do, common sense, but it's not common practice. You got to make these things common fundamentals and muscle memory. And it's something where you activate, and you know when you're going to be doing these things in the morning when you first wake up to when you go to sleep, and you're calculating these things. So as we were also showing in this last week, we looked at this Monday through Sunday arc. Now, if you have this Monday through Sunday arc, so let's just say that Monday is coming in and Sunday, you kind of have this like arc to your week. Or in other cases, it could feel like this, where you have a nice big start and then Sunday's where it winds down. There's different ways to look at I'm going to make this come down, and I'm going to duplicate this so we can just look at this in a couple different ways. So if we have of how we're spending our time, how you decide to plan and schedule your weeks, and how this actual curve is going to go. Are you going to have a low and high? Let's just say low energy, high, and the scale will be high and low on both of these, right? So low, and then what we're measuring is energy. Now, all the different categories of Next Level UX, we have 12 categories, very strategically designed and they're each tailored to the high performance habits from Brendon Burchard's book, where you have clarity, energy, necessity, productivity, influence, courage. So you have these 6 high performance habits, and then what I'm trying to do with Next Level UX is place the core system like connectors for design and as being a creator so that you can move through those things on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. So if we're trying to design our energy and work through so that we can make sure that our goals actually have a place in our life to be able to work through and be able to see them happen on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, then we have to design it into our life. We have to model it into our practices, model it into our learning, model it into our actions, model it into our reflections. We're modeling these things so that we can integrate them. So if we're thinking about a Monday through Friday, and then you are coming in hot, this is going to be the greatest week, and then something happens and it zonks you. What we're trying to do is have these weeks that are by design, and you have nice flow of actions where when you are working towards a goal, this end state of this goal is calculated. It's measured. You're able to see the progression in like a lean startup type of way, where you're not just, oh, I'm going to do this big giant thing. It's going to take me 90 days and I'm going to do it. And it's going to take me that whole 90 days, and every week for the next 12 weeks is going to be really awesome. Or you could be like, what is the outcome that we're really shooting for at this end of this goal? And then we can work our way back like we were talking about with our milestone and our 30, 60, or 90 day backwards plans. So sometimes these things can be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do all this work. It's really just the upfront work that is going to allow you to scale and be faster and more efficient over the next 30, 60, 90 days. Now, if you can do this with your team and you can do this with yourself and just get some proper alignment on how you're going to show up and get in and turn those 90-day actions more into more of a day action or even a week action, it's possible if you've experienced or worked with somebody that has actually done it before. So this is another way to look at your energy, another way to come in. And remember, there's always going to be like curveballs. Like there's going to be things, and if I drop these in, there's going to be highs and lows of things that will zap your energy or things that will keep you moving and keep you feeling great. Like this week, and even every week, I like to start on the Sunday and have a moment of reflection and journaling and intention where I can be like, what can I do this upcoming week that's going to help set me up for success to go execute this? Now, that's where the Next Level UX platform comes in, because you're training on these things, but you need to be able to model and start practicing these things. So if I can come back over into the platform, and I'm going to open up a new window here and share my screen. And let me come back to you. You have to be honest with yourself, but you also have to course correct. You have the capability to course correct. And that course correction has to happen. And it can happen as frequently as you need it. But I usually like having a weekly pivot point if I need to have that. And then the daily pivots or the daily reflections are going to be making sure that you're holding yourself accountable so that you can support your family, better support your kids, better support your team, better support your community. And you can put so much energy, like 70-80% of your week, into something that is just not moving the needle for you. And it's really important to step back, calibrate, and then be like, okay, how can I spend this time better for this next day? Or how can I have a better interaction or better relationship or a better conversation with the people or the systems or the teams or the processes that need me the most? And how can you focus on those and work on those? So today in the platform, I'm on a web browser, and what you're seeing right here is the dashboard for Next Level UX. I have 16 tasks that I need to tackle this week, but a couple things that I want you to know is, one, you can hit D for dark mode or L for light mode on the tool. You can see that we're already in our live session today. We're in goals. Next week's going to be action planning. You're always going to have homework to do every week when you're thinking about the things that you need to move forward. You're also, when you come in and you've taken, your score is important to make sure that you get it, because your score is going to allow you to have a benchmark on your tools, your people, and your systems, and how you're growing in these certain areas and maturing through those areas. We're going to make sure that we tap into these different growth axes, and you get those from your score, but then either retaking it every month to make sure that you are keeping track and you're going to be moving forward, you can do that. Or you can come back in, because we'll have the replays inside the Learn pillar so that you can watch these things, do the work, do the homework. And you're doing the homework right now because you're already live if you did it live. But otherwise, you can come back through, and we're going to just keep practicing these systems. Once you do it once, you have 90 days of this system, then you can start figuring out for any goals or any projects or anything that you need to take on, how to put so much great positive aim and direction towards it so that you can go and just create better. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to create a next level experience, right? So then, as we're working through, I also created a very simple planning tool in here. So today, or last week, we focused on purpose, priorities, problems, identity, interactions, and success, like I was showing you. So you could come in here and write your goals and just make sure you list them out. And then if you want to, get them reviewed from an AI, or my AI in the system can help you there. You can also share this or share your goals with your friends, your family members, so they know what you're doing. Just share it with the link and then they can access it. Or you can literally download it. So if you download it, you'll just cheat sheet. And here I'll put it in chat. I'll put it in chat so that you could literally share your goals or your plans with your family member, your partner, or your teammates, and you put it Slack or whatever. But the idea is that you're organizing these goals and then you're moving them forward and you're putting them in a place that they can actually be used. So that's in your planning area. Now, of course, because as you go through your goals and if you feel like you're doing too much of one thing, you can come back in and let's just say if you feel like your design energy is off, you can come back in and think about, okay, when did I feel most alive in my work this week? So that Monday through Sunday window, you might need to repivot and change. Okay, for Wednesdays, I'm only going to focus a 2 to 3 hour window on this specific project. And every week at that same time, you look forward to that 2 to 3 hour window for that specific project. And that's your boundary. That's your discipline. Because everything else, you're taking care of family, taking care of cooking, taking care of the responsibilities around your family and your household, making sure that things are moving forward across your career, your passion. That's why we have tools like this so that you can reflect, plan, and course correct very quickly. Then, if you feel even more stuck and you want to get strategic, then you can come in and chat with me. And this is like my AI that's utilizing all of the next level UX thinking and systems and frameworks, and it's put in there, and then you can just basically build out a supported plan. And then if you want to jam and sport some of the merch, you can buy some swag, get into it, and get going. And then the last thing that I was going to show you today is a music library where I'm going to keep adding songs and things in here to help create. So you always have this at your fingertips as you keep working through your projects and different things. So I just wanted to share that. The next thing I want to share is I want to jump back over into Codex, and I want to show you, we'll shift gears a little bit if there's not any other questions. If you do have questions about goals and any challenges or obstacles you're up against, put them in the chat. I'll definitely answer them. But what I'm going to do for this next half the session is we're going to keep building on our goals and figure out some ways and methods that you can organize and do this with Next Level UX, but also with Claude Code and also Codex. Now, I'm all about not only planning out intention, which is like thinking about how I want to show up during a window of time, but I like mixing those things, and I'll add those types of things to my plan. So I had predefined plans that you can add into the tool. You can schedule and plan ahead, and it's just as easy as going into selecting a date. So if I want to do a planning session for Sunday, then I can come into Sunday. I already have repeating elements inside of my Sunday plan that's going to remind me to do things. But then I can also come in and have a weekly view. I can see like the lineup of things that I'm doing on my week, and then I can see the lineup of things that I'm doing for my month. So I'm planning with intention versus just thinking about a project. I'm thinking about the intention I want to bring to the project. So pretty cool stuff. So now that you have an idea of the Next Level UX tool, let's shift into this. I just came in from the chat. So the challenge right now is that I'm having too many ideas and passions. So the question was, I'm having too many ideas and passions. Ideas and passions. So we have ideas and passions and so many different directions. Some of them don't compete, but when I get to the evening and I have 2 hours for creative endeavors, that's the crunch. What are you doing? Okay, so this just still makes me think about if this is you, my friend, and you're always shooting, and say you have a North Star up in the very top right of your paper, and every day you're thinking about these North Stars of, you're thinking of financial freedom, you're thinking about the tools of what you create can help people. You have to be honest and real with yourself about how you want to divide your bucket, because there's only so much of you that can go around, right? So if you're having that's why I think if you go back through and you think about your projects, your career, your passion, maybe you score those, your passion, your project, your career, and your personal goals, and you score what you would score them right now, maybe a 1 to 10 across all 4 of those categories. And think about where you're spending the most time, and then think about, as you come through, you just make the decision the prior Sunday before you actually start doing your new Monday through Sunday work. You make the decision heading into the week what you will allocate your time and resources to. And you make that decision or that contract with yourself before heading into the week, so that when you do have 2 hours that open up, you're already calculated, you're already intentional about what it is that you decided that you were going to do, and you hold yourself accountable to that. Because all you have to create, and I'm just making these rows because what I consider these different rows are, I'm getting crafty here for you. If you have different levels of boundaries, or if you have no boundaries to getting your time, like you're just gonna completely get steamrolled your entire life. You're just gonna give your time away, and then you won't feel like you're ever making progress. And you don't want to have that feeling where you're not making progress. That's just not even remotely. We're high performers here. You have certain layers of things that you're doing, and you have to create healthy boundaries for what you decide to give to the other areas of your life. And that's why I like breaking it up, having those things organized. But then it's which one's driving revenue, which one is driving joy, which one is an absolute necessity and ties back to my purpose and ties back to my family's priorities. And that's why, like, a part of the clarity exercise, you have to get so clear on what your priorities are, what your opportunities are, because there's always opportunities. Like right now, I am getting so many, like the universe is providing so many opportunities right now, and I have to be very keen on listening and not jumping right into something, and observing how the people and the teams and the companies and the industries are interacting, and I have to decide which industry I want to contribute to. Now, I already made it a statement in my mind, like I am going to focus on sports, I am going to focus on wellness and fitness industries, but how I decide to do that, I have to have weekly checkpoints with the industries and learn and how I want to and engage, because I've been so focused in the last 5 years on the personal development industry, and prior to that into learning industry, prior to that into people performance at big tech. And so I have to be very thoughtful about how and where I want to spend my energy. You called out a really incredible term, and you called out like pursuing balance. And it's pursuing balance is key, but it's also pursuing a sense, and I'm writing the word out just because it feels very relevant. It's like you're also pursuing balance, but you're also pursuing like harmony. And I wear a bracelet. I'm not wearing it right now, but I have 2 bracelets. They're like myintent.org bracelets. And one says create, and the other one says harmony. And because as we create, as we're learning, that's why I'm obsessive about these systems, because you need to understand the systems that you're operating within, but your other companies and things that you want to work for and you want to focus on, like it's possible for you to apply your energy to both of those things, but just do it in a little bit more structured, disciplined way, so that you're not degrading or lowering the level of intention that you believe should be in these other buckets that you've created. So the harmony of how you create, that's really what we're trying to create. Like the other graphic here on my screen, like I was showing like this visual of In this middle of this graphic is flow. And if you can understand like your people side, your tool side, your system side, we can get more flow from better processes, better direction, better feedback. But the magical like mastery path, and I'm 20 years into my path of learning systems and learning how to solve problems for businesses, but I still got a long way to go. And I'm still a student, but I'm also teaching something that I've been studying incredibly hard and disciplined for in 10 to 20 years, designed for 20 years, but more the business operations and how everything functions, the players in the game, all the things for 20 years now. And now that with AIs here, you can just learn a lot faster, but you also have to be controlled in a controlled energy. And that's, I think, where harmony comes in. But of course, you got passions, you got directions, you got different ideas. They're always going to come. So if you can have a very clean process of intaking from your brain, your ideas, intaking and then putting them into a very core output, this is how you can take major leaps forward in things that you do. So we got about 25 minutes left of the session. So I can give you an example of taking an idea or taking a series of things that you want to do and then organizing them into essentially a story or a deck. We could do that with some of the AI tools that we have. But I also want to dive deeper into these problems and thinking about what problems arise with trying to organize your efforts. One might be not having a tool to write it down, not having access to download the things. That's why inside the Next Level UX platform, we added download to everything. You can download your data, you can download a plan, you can share a plan. Everything is shareable and everything is downloadable. And for all the information that you put, all the intention, all the chats and things that you do, you can download all of it, because you need to be able to pass information and knowledge from one place to another place. And that's so important. That's so important. There's going to be a lot of tools out there that are going to try to get you organized in a certain way. What I want you to do is to be able to organize your intention of the most important things and do something with them. Take action on them. So let's think about that for a second. What kind of action from writing down our goals could we take today? And if we could think about what those things are, and even I'm already drawing out like these little like nodes, and I'm thinking about, okay, for the things that I want to have harmony in, what are some bold, ambitious things that I could do this week to move my projects forward, my goals forward, my passions forward? Let's just write them out together, okay? So the first one that I'm going to write out is, my brother is coming to the house this weekend. He's bringing his kids. I'm super excited about it. He's bringing old fishing poles and he's bringing some machetes because we have a forest and we're gonna cut through the forest and make some trails. It's gonna be fun. He's bringing these two things. So in my mind, that's gonna be probably like an hour or two window of time where we're gonna go out and create. Gonna go cut some things and then we'll probably use the firewood, make some fire, make some s'mores, have some fun. So as we're doing this, I'm thinking about, okay, there's probably things that I could prepare, make sure that ahead of that time. So this is like more of a passion. Remember I talked about hiking and being in the woods and being in nature. That's going to fill one of my bucket. Be with my brother, get in the woods. With that, I know that's coming. So what are 2-3 things I could do to prepare for that moment? It might be like, make sure I'm wearing proper attire, and make sure I got maybe some water bottles for us, and then we're going to get some gloves and go get after it. So that's a little bit of preparation. Let's move on to the next one. Let's just also say you have another project for your RV service. So for the business, I'm working with a couple founders. So as a founder trying to build out a product and a service, what are some things that you could do this week that are major monumental needle movers? One is that you could have an additional 5 to 10 conversations by the end of the week that talk about the problems or the objectives of your customers in using your products. What are some conversations you could have, and who could you reach out to by the end of the day, Thursday, Friday, to get more intel about the problems that your customers are facing and how you could iterate and update your application to serve them at a better way. Doesn't mean you got to go change it, but how could you get some feedback from them? Think about it more of a qualitative assignment for you to go in for your goal, something that you're working towards. How can you get more feedback from your customer? What could it be? How could you ask that question to 5 to 10 new people today and tomorrow by the end of the week? Then, once you take that information, transcribe all the audio, put it through one of your AI engines and synthesize it. Use the word synthesize and audit the conversation. Summarize opportunities that you can take and that you can move forward with the feedback that you got. And then make sure that you also give the AI, either Claude Code or Codex, your URL to your business. Put that URL in the business, put the transcripts of what you learned, and then ask it for a 20 to 50 page summary review, responsive keynote design that's going to allow you to learn what it is that you have going on in your business. Now you have a big summary, you have a deck that's going to help you understand, you've done a little bit of an audit, you have a broader perspective. Then you can follow up with more questions like, provide me a pricing architecture that could help get my company to a revenue positive company. Or what are some better funnels or lead magnets I could create to help drive more people into my product? There's so many things that you could do. But again, I'll repeat, if you never write it down and you never do that work, that's 15 to 20 minutes of work. And then taking that 15 minutes of work and maybe that if you do have 5 to 10 conversations, time box them to a 15-minute conversation over the phone. Or just get them to book some time on your calendar, 10, 15 minutes at a time, and then go through that, record sessions. Let them know you're recording sessions just to improve your product. And then bada bing, bada boom, you already have a major advancements of doing that. Now, of course, if you can't jump on a call and do that, then you could do another thing where you just literally ask one of your AIs to go in and do an audit or review of your existing product. And that could be another way. So you can have a little bit of a qualitative and also like kind of an AI, a quantitative way of looking at everything that you've created. Whatever it is, it's just really about reframing the problems that you have, the opportunities that you're shooting for, and then you can inject that into an AI to be able to help you move forward faster, better, smarter. Very simple things, but really asking the right questions can be very powerful. So we want to encourage you to definitely do that. So we got 5 things you could probably do at the end of the week. That's great for your goals. Now let's move over into the personal life. Personal life, things that are going on with you in your personal life. So let's see, you got Mother's Day coming up on Sunday. Think about what you can do for your mom. Think about what you can do for your partner, thinking about the things that you can do ahead of time to get ready for that beautiful day on Sunday. And what are some things that you could do there? Maybe you could go ahead, now that it's Thursday, today and tomorrow would be good days to prepare and go ahead and get out of the way the things that you want to do to celebrate those days, things that you want to do to celebrate them on a personal level. The moms and the wives that we have and the children, so much magic that's happened because of our partners and our wives. So let's make sure we celebrate them really good on Mother's Day. In preparation for our personal life, now we need to also think about how we can make sure that we have good energy and good spirits and good health heading into that day. So I'm going to backwards plan from Sunday, and I know that if Sunday is the big day, I want to make sure that I'm sleeping good tonight, tomorrow, and taking care of my body, getting a good run in, getting an outdoor maybe walk or hike in so that I can really prepare to have a really beautiful day and feel healthy and strong, and maybe more calculated so I can get some meals prepared. I can think about the things that might happen on Saturday, Sunday that I wasn't expecting. It's all about anticipation. It's all about preparation. And that's what we do. That's what we learn about here. So there's some other things that you can do. So we have personal. We had talked about project, right? Going out and asking some questions. Personal. We talked about fitness, maybe integrating some of these things. Maybe do some training. And then we got our passion goals, which I was talking about. I'm going to be up with the machete on Saturday and getting out in the woods with my brother and my family. I'm pretty pumped about that. And then let's see. So we got personal, project, career, passion. And now we're starting to align the things that we're doing throughout the week. So if I even go back to Figma, just to keep you heading back to Figma, we were looking at these elements and thinking about our week and our flow. Now, I really like having challenging days, supportive days, but the things that I really am striving for is just consistency. And if I can think about the big magical moments through Monday through Sunday, and I can integrate those into my week, it makes me feel like I have a good flowing week. And I have a lot more ebb and flow, and I might not be so much of a curve, but I might have more of a, let me add some lines here. So I would like, boom. I might just be more like this, but it's all calculated. I have good ups and downs and things that happen, but I really try to maintain and really honor the energy. Now for the projects and the things that we were just talking about, what are yours? And have you identified how you're going to tap into these things on a weekly basis in the touch points? You could have people that you need to reach out to. You could have people in bold requests that you ask this Friday. You could have projects that you begin, start, or end this Friday. You could decide that you're going to stop doing certain things this Friday or even today. And then you could also start, stop, or pivot or iterate on your existing personal goals. And that's the magic of having a weekly reflection, because you can come back in here and recalibrate these at any time that you want. Now, again, if you haven't yet dialed in or set up schedules, systems, rituals, or routines in your life, this is an opportunity for you just to start add one to your week. Add another one to your week. What's a Sunday ritual that you and your family could do? What's a Monday ritual that you could do with yourself or your team? What's a Friday status update ritual that you might be able to add into your team to make sure that you're moving the needle forward? Same thing goes with your days, your weeks, your months. Are you calculating what it is that you're doing? Are you organized through those methods? Are you thinking about the things that actually matter, like your purpose statement, maybe your priorities of family or your friends and other things that are going on? Are you thinking about those opportunities that are coming up? Are you building up that identity and showing who you want to be? Are you tapping into those interactions with you show up with other people? And thinking about what success looks like for that. And that's the big six, but we just focus on goals. Next week, we'll focus on action planning. So taking all of these things that we're doing with these goals and this energy, and then literally starting to go in, and I'll show you this real quick. And then working through how do we plot this on our map and work through them every single day. That's going to be super fun. Now I want to spin and challenge each of us to actually go through for this last 10 minutes and create something pretty cool. What's something you would like to see that doesn't exist today that you would want to see created? What could that be? And start thinking about it for a second. And then I will prepare something here on the side here for you. I'm going to hop over into my Claude code. I'll do it in Claude today. It'd be fun. If you ever never used Claude code, let me share my screen. So I'm doing some research on this company called Coursera. If you haven't heard of Coursera, they are another learning and development company. Perfect. Okay, so it should be sharing now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull down a project. I'm going to open a new folder and just going to name this Coursera Create. Okay, now I can see that. All right, great. So I'm going to say, let's start a new project together on the design library, and we will be researching a company called Coursera. I'm keeping it super simple like that first, and then I'm going to ask it to bring it back. I want to show you how easy and fast it is to take a series of questions and start getting some really good intel back so that you can make some good choices, some good decisions. So it's already getting warmed up, but let's see what it said. Both working in the directory, memory empty. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's start a 50-page research deck about Coursera. Tell me everything I should know as a future creator at this company to help them as a VP and chief design operator. All right, so I asked a bold question. Let me put it in the chat for you, and so you can, if you wanted to save it, you can. There it is, and it's gonna come in. So what I don't always open that up. I always open up preview, and we're gonna set this up while it's going. We want to be able to preview information. A really major power play inside of Claude Code or Codex is being able to visualize existing data that is already public information. If you can go in and find public information, it's a great place to start with in organizing that information how you want to see it. You can go on the internet and go to the site and then read the site, but what you're creating is you're trying to organize this for your project, what it is you're doing. So if you had originally these ideas and passions and directions are coming, you can organize those questions around a specific industry. And if your industry is RV service, you could start building an inventory of an architecture of all the different companies that offer something similar, all the different industries that are doing what it is that you're trying to do in the experience. And it's powerful. It's so powerful to organize that information and start working it in. So what it's doing right now is it's asking a positioning deck for a target firm with you as a chief. Yes, 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 it is. And just to even give it a little bit more rich information, I'm going to go to the Coursera's website, and then I'm going to paste in that website so that it has that intel over in Claude Code. You can use this as a reference as well for public information. All right, so let me come back to you. Okay, so I just went in and added a little bit more detail. It's still cooking, right? We gotta let it cook. All right, fantastic. It finally heated up. Now we're looking at it. This was the first output of my research project, learning about Coursera, and I just wanted to show you what was the outcome. So it ended up pulling in the deck as a letter to the world's largest learning platform, and it created this deck, but I already wanted to change the branding and the design stack. I liked the information and what it brought back, but I'm not vibing necessarily on the full color schema that it chose. And I want to kind of tweak that. I also wanted to understand how the work that I do overlaps with the work that it does. And so this would be the next thing that I would prompt it. And there are 50 slides of this, so I definitely need to get after it. So the first thing that I'm going to say is, thank you for this first pass. Let's please align to the next level UX branding in our existing repos. I also want to make sure that each slide has 0 text overlap and is 100% mobile and web scroll and typography friendly. Stay consistent and do not introduce too many don't introduce any random design elements. Clean up the keynote. So we got consistent, we're going to get it cleaned up, and now we're going to kick that work off. It's going to go through that. And the thing that I love about these types of presentations is it helps you put yourself in a place to learn deeply about another company, about what it is that they do, and about how you could be integrated into this environment. You could be integrated in this team. Now, so many companies are trying to hire top talent right now to help manage and orchestrate and lead their teams. But if you can't understand the operating systems of these companies, how are you going to be able to support them? So that's the first thing that you can do. If you're interviewing at another company, first thing that you can do is get into Claude Code or Codex and learn about that company. Look at it from 10 different directions in different ways. Think about what you do, how you can contribute to their team, and what does that look like? Could you visualize it? Could you write about it? You could even be journaling and vibe coding with Claude Code or Codex and really break in that possibility of what it might look like if you were to work at those companies. You got brilliance, you have intelligence, you have systems, you have priorities. So you can do these sorts of things, right? You can think about how it would fit in, how you would work. Let's kind of cook this. And just right off this, when I was first doing my first critique, I don't like how it brought back this 5 different colors of a letter to the world's largest learning company. I would just want it to be one simple one. Let me go to the next slide. I like this, but it didn't link these things up. In my previous decks where I had these elements were linked up. So I'm going to select it. It's already selected in chat and be like, make sure you wire up this deck like you did in the past so that you can easily navigate the full deck. And then I would say also remove the extra pagination because we don't need extra space wasted. And I'm going to use the select tool and select the areas that I don't want to be showing up multiple times. So I just selected both of them and then I'll hit send. And now it's going to cook on both of those updates. So as it works through, it's still updating the background. Let's just read through some more of the content. So the purpose, an introduction, not a pitch. This deck has 2 jobs. The first is to tell Coursera's story back to Coursera with care, precision, and outsider perspective. The second is to show what is not possible or what is now possible with a senior design operator pair with Claude as an always on partner. Every chart, every layout, every word here was shaped in conversation with an AI model. Artifact you are reading is a demonstration. The speed of production is the message. So I don't really like what that's saying, so I'm going to totally rewrite that. But it's cool that it's formulating a perspective, and you can take that to the next level. So you can learn about the founders. That NG remains on the board. So the board, the caller, let's go see in April 2012, Andrew NG and Daphne Kohler, both Stanford computer science professors, formalized Coursera as a separate company. The prior fall of NG's machine learning course had attracted more than 100,000 enrollments online. Kohler's probabilistic graphical models had done the same. The MOOC, the MOOC moment was already real. They named it the entity to suit it. Within a year, there were 62 university partners, 4 million learners, and public hypotheses that the best courses on the planet should not be locked inside the institutions and produced by them. The model was simple. Pair the world's best courses with the world's best universities and put the bundle online. Free at first, then credentials, then degree. The principle was simple too. Outside the campus, inside the credential, the principal still runs the company 14 years later. Let's go. And then you can see the trajectory of where it was and what it's doing. Now Greg Hart, named CEO, the AI native pilot, becomes the primary operating posture in 2024. We'll look into that, see how true that is. We have 168 million registered learners, 694 million in revenue, 350 plus universities using this, and 7,000 plus courses. Now, I worked previously at lynda.com. There are 20,000 plus courses, and the magnitude of scale is huge. So this looks like they go back into the university. So already learning. So we envision a world where anyone, anywhere has the power to transform their life through learning. Love the lifelong learning mission. Also, there's open access, there's university co-brand, and there's outcome contracts. All right, the 3 lines, consumer, enterprise, and degrees, makes sense. The mass market by geography, so you have 66% of learners outside the US, 25% of languages, 25 plus languages supported, 100 plus countries, and 60% of sessions on mobile. Okay, got it. All right, then Mountain View's the anchor city, but they do have a remote first company. The 381, nice. Their address, the design org. Okay, still got some learning to do there. I will dive deeper into that via LinkedIn and surface the pod. So I'm going to go deeper into all these things, but I just wanted to show you how powerful a tool like this can be. Now, it gave me an okay first pass, but I will constantly be improving this and taking it to another level. I'll also be applying like my framework on top of their framework of what they do from the first session, the job outcomes, the coaches, the admin reports, the author, the partnering, all the systems. I worked in those environments, so I want to kind of dive into it a little bit more. The activation door, the coach integration, the credential ladder, and the interop from B2C and B2B and B2U. Very cool platform ecosystem. The cracks in the system might be the marketplace signal decay, the curation strain across the catalog scale, 7,000 plus courses with uneven quality, stale content, and inconsistent credential weight. The shift is the moat and the shelf is the risk. So got it. The AI substitution lag, generative tutors, eat the linear video model, ChatGPT EDU, and Copilots inside the Notion and Google Workspace are direct substitutes for the watch 12-minute lecture and take a quiz. Yeah, 12 minutes is important. The classical EdTech wound, activation is high, finish rate is industry low. Like on average, 2-3% people that start a video will actually watch the video. It's really low. The credential is the contract. So this is really important. Problem solve, integrated learning, timely learning, making sure that you're helping people learn and practice, not just in a sit down and watch. People need to be not only consuming, but they need to be creating. These are very important things. So Yale cert as the next big tech cert, next to startup cert, next to self-publish course reads as one of the shelves with no brand. The co-brand moat is weakening at the credentialing level. So very interesting problems in the system that we could dive deeper into. Operating tensions, marketplace versus curated, linear video versus generative tutor. Yeah, these are all things that we have to be aware of. The university ring and industry co-brands. And let's see, frenemies, MIT, Harvard Online, Stanford AI. Got it. The AI native ring, foundation models, cohort natives, embedded co-pilots. The strengths and the weaknesses, the opportunities and threats. The Coursera's moat isn't the catalog, it's the co-brand. It totally makes sense. The 5 jobs that they need. Talking about owning the point of view, running an OS, an operating system for the team, the discipline. That's where you need at the highest level from a VP level need of a person. You got to be able to run quarterback across these different elements and be a connective tissue. So totally get it. And yeah, an AI native posture is one way to think about it, but it's also AI empowered and not necessarily native. So I'll fix that. So many good things here. So I just wanted to share this with you. And this was an example of taking an information research project we did in 15, 20 minutes. And then it will continue. I'll continue to iterate and improve it over time. So let me actually go back to the very beginning. Just finishing up some of the work right now. Learning about these big juggernaut companies is pretty powerful when you can start learning the systems. And one of my previous jobs, I was a senior design specialist for a team at Envision app, and it was a design transformation team. Pretty cool operations, because what we would do is we would teach design systems and design maturity across Fortune 500 companies. And the cool thing, we'd fly to an office, we would share our product, and then learn about the problems and the opportunities inside of another organization. And when we'd learn, it was cool because we could see and be like, oh, and we noticed that a lot of teams struggled in certain areas, and then we could help pinpoint those problems and help support them. And that was a really cool part of the job. And then from doing that, you learn the systems. When you learn the systems, you're like, oh, this is a pattern, that's a pattern. Here's how other teams solve that pattern, or here's what we've seen work the best in solving that pattern. And we should do that. And I just love that superpower that we've gotten to do that with other teams. That team was incredible. And now everybody dispersed and is doing their own thing because Envision's no more. But our role and discipline at that company was super powerful. Really appreciate it. It should be, yeah, so Codex is starting to be able to integrate full end-to-end with Figma. So I would absolutely begin exploring it. It's been pretty powerful, the quality of Codex, and I'm going to keep pushing on it too to help. I believe it can make the components, but you just have to work. I haven't done that officially for my entire design system and library yet for Next Level UX, but that's the next play. Starting with the visuals, starting with the product and the platform, and then being able to use both these platforms and products to be able to run and build out your own thing. It's pretty cool. I just wanted to thank you so much for workshopping with us today. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. We're going to go ahead and end this session. We'll be back next Thursday talking about action plan again. I'd love for you to be coming. I'd love for you to invite your friends. And we're going to be doing this for the next 11 weeks. It's going to be great. And as we do this, remember, it's not going to hit as hard if you don't do the work. You got to do the work. You got to put in the time. But you also have to put in the right time. Remember, don't get distracted by a bunch of all the fancy tools out there. Stay very disciplined to the tools that are going to move the needle for you. Like I'm talking Codex, I'm talking Claude Code, I'm talking really aimed energy for what it is that you're going to be doing. Stay focused on those project goals, those career goals, those passion goals, and those personal goals. Do not get distracted by doing things that do not move the needle for you. Go get it. Go have an awesome week. Have a great Mother's Day. Go celebrate something magical this week. And we will see you back next week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Talk to you later. All right. Bye.